Und wir machen direkt weiter mit Eric Joris. Ich sehe, er kommt gerade zur Tür rein. Und sein Beitrag heißt How do images feel? Images do not end at the retina. And Eric, if you could come up front and bring your laptop and your trolley with you.
Okay, so good morning. Yeah, so I'm into geriatric VR these days. I'll show you my latest invention. I have this trolley with me, and as you can see, so for training elderly people like me, we are both sides, and then we can train going forward and backward. Learning to know go backward is important at my age. Yeah, so actually, no, this is true. So this is what we will use for our show tomorrow for tremens. I took it with me on a train here. I had an accident on the escalator, rolling down the escalator with my luggage and things like that. The nice thing is, immediately, like 10 people came to my help. And then they were so nice to bring me to a special section of the train, which was for special people, for some disabilities. And so always being treated like in and out very gently. A bit like, so I felt a bit like in a Wes Anderson movie coming here. Now, to the topic of today. Okay, so this is what's been announced. I changed the title of my talk. It will be about Tremens, the project that we made with Residence Theatre, and that we'll be showing this afternoon. Yeah, so at Crew, we are already for a long while into VR and theater, and I just would like to explain two words. No, oh, I touched buttons. Go back. Yeah. Two funny terms that we use in Flanders when we make dramaturgical stuff. One word is to problematize something. So if you take anything and you problematize it, and then you can turn it into a narrative. It's very useful. There's another word which we use, which is difficult to translate, I think, and that is thematize, theme, thematize, thematisieren oder so in Deutsch. So if you have a problem, you make a theme out of it and you start using it. So you can turn the problem, if it is a problem, into a theme. Like, for instance, in the beginning, when you were working with VR, it was very cumbersome, it was very heavy, you were carrying heavy computers on your back, you had like a lap upon your head. Well, then you make a story that has to do with walking difficultly and, like, let's say, a nuclear post or war or anything like that. So you turn it into a theme. So in the beginning, diseases and things like that were evidently themes that we used a lot. And why do we then use, then the question is then, why Shakespeare, why Sophocles, why Falcon Scott and things like that? That is because these old stories, they are made out of mythical thinking, observation, religious thinking, fantasies, but many of these are reality right now, so very useful. So you think about the idea of the old myths, that you could be omnipresent, that you could be anywhere. We can. That you can know what the other is doing, that you can be from the inside of someone else, that I can see where you are, wherever you are in the world. All these kind of things are simple, actual presence. So this was one of our first Philoctetes, the drama of Sophocles. That is about a virus that is infiltrating, colonizing the body. The virus can be also another type of virus, but so that was Philoctetes. Philoctetes was infected by a serpent and then was laid on the island of Lemnos, and thanks to his magical bow could survive. So here we have a friend of mine who was completely paralyzed, and with contacts on his mouth and head and things like that, we made him use a robot and tell the story of Philoctetes. And the audience was sitting around and looking down upon him, as an example. So Oedipus was another team. Oedipus Rex is the ultimate tragical play. Tragic in the sense of you run after your own fate. So in Flemish we say something like hat das Schicksal über sich selbst aufgerufen. So he made it himself. So looking after the murderer who was himself, that is the drama, that is the real tragic. And then of course he loses sight. But then when losing sight, he starts seeing and understanding. So all these kind of things are interesting to integrate into performances as a concept. Next. Yeah, so still Oedipus. And then that idea of dissociation from the body, which were the very first things we experienced when we started working with VR around 2003-04. So that was, you immediately had this idea of being outside of your body. So that took us, in a way, to Hamlet. This was an experiment in Zagreb with some students from the Theatre Academy who were performing Hamlet. Both are in each other's bodies, so they use each other's perspective, and we can change those. So that I was playing already with that idea, who am I? Can I be outside of myself? Can I be someone else? And Hamlet, then diving into Hamlet, we discovered a lot of super interesting things, and that's what we made. Then we made a kind of a Hamlet thing out of it. We didn't try to reconstruct a Hamlet play. That would not be possible, actually. It's an oral tradition. But anyway, there were many interesting things that we could get out of it. So in the beginning, that was a one-to-one type of performance. So the cosmology, which is linked to Hamlet and the time, was super interesting, as I will explain a bit further. And so all that you can, with VR and new means, you can, communicate in a much more interesting way than you otherwise can. So that was another version that came out of Hamlet. For the technical people amongst you, we were moving around with these structures. That was with the digital tools. It was, of course, you needed tracking. Tracking was the beginning in those days. You had the device system, which was with the base stations. So we mounted base stations upon these trolleys that are walking around, and so we made a kind of a primitive motion capture live. Something else, since we are talking about theater, so you have the theatrical perspective. This is the classical theatrical perspective, which we used for Oedipus. Another perspective is this one, which is also an old theatrical tradition from the medieval period, where you have several wagons with several scenes, and you go from one scene to another. And so that is what we did with then the next part, and organizing this in order to activate, of course, the audience in a more interesting way, not just being seated and watching, and from time to time being able to do something. So that resulted, I should turn more to the microphone, of course. That resulted in Terra Nova. So as you can see, this was very much staged at the outside and the inside. And the inside was these kind of things that would you feel and experience. I suggest just to go to some quick images. So this is Philoctetes. So yeah, past. That was paralyzed man. So this is the choreography around Terra Nova. The touch was very important in the beginning. We now use it less. But it has to do with this idea of displacement, dissociation, of course. You can literally take people out of the body. These were the parts where we were doing Hamlet in other ways. Again, try to have the audience involved here with tracked tablets, performing the cosmic beliefs of Hamlet's time, which are changing during Shakespeare's time and lead him to different plays. So those kind of things. And of course, yes, indeed, we were having people inside of these rolling wheels to experience gravity, which is important in the cosmological beliefs. And the actor is, again, it's a primitive type of motion capture, and one by one we take the immersions of public into the headset, and we participate all and walk around with these things. And at the end, everybody has a way to quickly go through the environments we have made. Now, of course, this was right before the pandemic, and we could only perform it once for the reason I just gave, and then we had to switch it into something else during the pandemic. So we went online. So this was one thing. We turned it into a game. So the audience was for 60 people. So the audience, they all have an avatar, and they have to move and listen to the actors who are top left. The actors use filters all the time, so sometimes they're women, sometimes they are gravediggers. Actually, it was great fun. And so the audience, so there's a play in the play, of course. From time to time, we explain things. What is the link between the kingdom, the cosmos, and things like that? What was the problem of Hamlet? What was the agency of Hamlet? It was not as big as we thought. He had an obligation to do. So, yeah, this is the play in the play, if you know of Hamlet. You see the actors all the time talking to the people, and the people have to find ways. There are wormholes there. You have to go in and out there and there. And so here we arrive in a so-called revenge painting, which is a good summary of what Hamlet is about. This is the proto-Hamlet, King James VI. His father, the king, murdered by the lover of his mother, Mary Stuart. And then we continue different ways. You can see in the painting, it's a so-called revenge painting, which says you have to revenge your father. So that was the Hamlet being from Scottish descent. So we just are not hiding the tools and the tricks. And then, so it goes on like this. Finally to arrive in, quickly tell this, finally to arrive in Elsinore, which you see there. Elsinore, and at the right of Elsinore you could see the island of Vane, which was the island of Tycho Brahe, a famous astronomer. No time to continue with this. And then we made another online version, which was very funny. So this is the actor. Hello, he says. There was like, I think there were 30 people connected. And everybody, instead of looking at the Zoom, we put you on a laptop, and so here you are, and so this is the audience was running around. So we were driving them around in what we would call a cosmological collapse with Hamlet. It was all very silly. And this one, so some were able to navigate their own laptop from a distance. It didn't work very well, as you can see, but anyway, so that added to the fun. And then, so it took half an hour driving around, lots of things happening, and here, and this is here we go into the so-called red room where things happen, but there's no time to explain exactly what was about to happen here. But it gave us a way to dive in another way into Hamlet. Okay, so now serious. So Tremens. So this is the last thing we made together with Residence Theatre, and it is what's the problem? What's the theme? Well, it's well known. So when we started working on it, there was 2022. Mark Zuckerberg announcing Meta. And creating his metaverse, the belief in a metaverse, a place that nobody would own, where you could do anything you want, you could play, meet your friends, you could monetize it, you could do anything. And it was free. It would not belong to anybody. We would make it together, and it would be safe. But it would be free. And so that was in 22. When we performed at the premiere a few months ago, exactly that moment, he decided to stop it. And there's no more metaverse now. Now they switched to AI, and so he formally closed down the development in the Connect and Horizon type of metaverse worlds. But what about it? So, and what is the link with Shakespeare? So, I can't show him right now, but so it's about Timon of Athens, which is a less known play of Shakespeare, and it's about, let's say, the economy of giving. So Timon is a rich person, a prestigious person in the middle of society. He gives away everything until he goes bankrupt. Going bankrupt, since he gave so many and made so many people rich, he thinks, you can borrow now to me, and you can help me out of it so that I can continue, which is not happening, of course. And so then everything goes wrong, he starts living in a cave, and he becomes very bitter. More than bitter. And he starts to sabotage. He finds gold in the cave, and then everybody comes back and, hello. And we are still friends and things like that. And then he's sabotaging the city. It's the city of Athens. It's the making of democracy at that moment. So it's an interesting play for those many reasons. Looking at this, on top, I don't know whether you know this excerpt of something you can find on YouTube. It's Donald Trump having all the tech moguls explaining what they are about to do and how many billions they are about to invest in the United States in the industry. And what is incredible watching, it's what Timon is doing all the time. It's pure flattering. They all start with a very lengthy thing. Oh, so we are happy to be here. Thanks to you. You're a genius. You're this. You're that. We are so happy to be here. Thanks to you. You understood, etc., etc. So the flattering is a part of a society in which you become dependent upon each other, which Tacitus described very well in going from the Roman Republic to the Empire. The play is not about Trump, but it's about that idea of giving, making people dependent. What is free? If I give things to you, is that really altruism? No, of course. So, and how can I make you further dependent? Actually, the social media is the perfect example of this. You see some of the murals in our world are depicting this. You recognize some people, of course. It's being performed inside of a building in Munich, the hall of the residence theater, and we turned it into Roman baths. So we changed it a bit, but so the physical measures correspond to the world, those in our virtual world. As you can see here. There is two, again, like in Terra Nova, there is two parts. There's the part inside and there's the part outside. We could not, in scenographical terms, we could not do much for the outside, since nowadays with the tracking you need light, of course. So, yeah, that's a limitation. So it's just naked. But you have, again, two perspectives. You're looking down, sometimes outside of the city, sometimes at a play, and you are looking up, and you're looking inside, of course. There is a part that is going up at this level. That's the part I will show today. And there's a part down, which is a collaborative part, which is more complicated, which we can't show here. And the actor, as you can see, is working on all levels, and there's also a mocap actor, because there's a live intervention in the downside part. Yeah. So these are some images from the upper level. And this is the level I cannot show here, which is the level of where the building is sinking in the water. The coins are actually the representations of the avatars, so of the participants. This is the live mocap actor. And the first thing you see is there's a building sinking, and they're throwing people from the balcony. They throw them in there, and then they end here in front of you, and then the invitation is to go up. To go up, so this is what you see when you're in the water. When you go up, your perspective changes. So it's a bit difficult to explain. Since the building is collapsing like this, I look at it like this. If I look from here, then of course the sea becomes the sky. And since the building is sinking, the sky and water the water, so the water comes closer to me. So that is what is happening, and you see on the picture, right. So here we are already underwater, and then other things happen, and then Mark Zuckerberg appears. So that's in short about Tremens. For Tremens, that was a project of 2 years that we developed together with Residence Theatre, and also partly with the Filmakademie, which we came doing some motion capture here. For that, we developed inside of EU programs wide, large area tracking. Now, when we were ready, in fact, the market already was providing this, so unfortunately, it was too late. So here you see some earlier examples of our wish to have this large area tracking. The idea of this large area tracking was that you can take stories through the whole building. And for that, you need other tools that we developed in another program, Emil, which many of you know, where we made tools to empower the performer so that he could, put himself over there in front of someone who's there, perform an action, have it repeating here, creating other people, so that one actor can populate the world and make strange interactions. And we made a complete scene like that in Amarcord, the image to the right. This is that's my talk. So, thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much. Questions, and you should notice that we have an excerpt from Tremens being on display here in the studio.
Yes.
Starting at 2 o'clock. We scanned the room up front with Ilya, so things should be prepared.
Yes, and you will be running behind these kind of things?
That's the story behind the wagon, yeah.
To problematize your walk.
Questions from the audience?
So I guess everything was very clear. So this rarely happens. So.
I would love to know what did happen in the Red Room with your experiment.
What? What was in the Red Room?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, it's the essence of theater. There was nothing. I mean, it was like, what is happening here? The physics in this room changed. It was pure improvisation of the actor, but he did it, I couldn't show it because then you need the sound, but he did it in a fantastic way. And it was a paper bag. That was all. And he was imagining the paper bag was doing strange things. But it was all done on a laptop. And the way he did it, it was pure improvisation, was fantastic. So it's really like, what is here? And then we moved out of space, and then we intervened then, and then we put boxes on top of the laptops, and so then you saw boxes moving around instead of the laptops with fog and things like that. So the point was that we had a complex script before we started. It was impossible to get it right. So we turned it a bit into the absurd, and then the interesting thing is it really seemed to be about something at the end. Then people said, "What is this? This is super, this was really about something." And it was really working with yeah, what is there? Is it so? It was all the time moving, and so the Red Room was a transitional space in terms of for your fantasy. So,
thank you very much, Eric. Could you tell us about the authorship process? Do you have a digital Shakespeare sitting in a box? Is it the actors inspiring you? What is the core idea? How to get to these fantastic, absurd ideas?
Well, I was happy to be able to work with Shakespeare dramaturges. And for a while with this one-to-one, what we called hands-on Hamlet version, we have been traveling all the Shakespeare festivals you can imagine, which was very funny because you have a very funny audience, many people specializing on very particular items of Shakespeare. So it was great. So, and we had a team of 3 dramaturges who have been continuously working with us for the Shakespeare. Actually, I must say, their direction was different from the one we finally chose. So they had this idea, for them the essence of Hamlet was the agency of Hamlet. So how to act ethically, how to act honorably in a conflicting world. So that was their point of view. But when we dove into Hamlet, and we, by coincidence, because we had been working on astronomy, found out that the cast of Elsinore is just near to the first lab in Western history, astronomic lab of Tycho Brahe. That was like, wow, what is this? And the star that is appearing at the beginning in Hamlet, that's a supernova of 1572, which was discovered by Brahe, wrote about it, went to London. King James, I spoke about, came to Elsinore, came to Brahe, made a poem about Brahe. And so lots of possibilities in what Brahe was developing. Brahe, in a way, developed a new view upon the cosmos. So he knew that the idea of the crystal spheres, so they had the idea from Aristotle that the stars, you had the fixed stars, those wouldn't move, and then the planets, they are moving and they are kept inside of crystal spheres. And the primal mover, God, to the outside, is turning the wheel to have everything moving. If that primal mover is disturbed, he will shake, and that's the beginning of Hamlet and Macbeth, so strange phenomena in nature. But these Brahe had a lab, fantastic lab, surrealistic lab, underground and above the ground. He observed the stars for 30 years. It was before the telescope, so a bit painfully. And so he then found out that Copernicus, who had been there, but who was not believed, that Copernicus was partly right. And so his thesis was everything, all planets are indeed turning around the sun, except the Earth and its moon. And so the whole constellation of things turning around the sun are in fact turning around the Earth. So that was the belief of Brahe. And then at the end, he took he had a new assistant, Johannes Kepler. Johannes Kepler was a mathematician. He immediately understood, oh, he's wrong. It must be something else. And so that's also, yeah, sorry, you might just stop me, but that's Hamlet. That is Hamlet. That is Hamlet. So he had all the data, just like Hamlet, but he took the wrong conclusion. He took the wrong conclusion. So that was the intriguing part. So that's the way it went. And that idea of being Hamlet in a society which is tilting, because the science was tilting at that moment from many things. So he is in the middle of those. So the choices he has are from a different nature.
Thank you so much, Eric.
Okay, thank you.